So too many new property investors set themselves up for failure. They rush in, don't know what they're doing, and make big, expensive mistakes. Ouch. Today in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 biggest mistakes and how to avoid them. And how do I know that? Because I've made them all. My name's Abby Hookway. 8 years ago, I started in property, and honestly, I could spend 5 days telling you all the mistakes I made and got wrong. But here in today's video, I want to show you the 5 biggest and how to avoid them. From somebody who's built an £8.2 million property portfolio, quit their day job, I get to travel all the time and live off my passive income, and I would love that for you. So mistake number 1. This is no strategy or plan. And I see people doing this all the time. They see an idea, they think it's really good, and they go and do it, but they just don't have a plan. They might end up with random houses bought in different circumstances. My brother made this mistake. He went out and he bought really, really cheap properties, but cheap properties don't always give you the best return on what your money is invested in. There's a lack of understanding of different strategies. So you'll dive in, you might just do buy to let. So buy a house, put a tenant in it, you're a landlord. Well done, you're a property investor. But they don't realise there's 9 other property strategies you can do, including the Airbnb strategy, commercial property, property flipping, making 50 to 100 grand every time. There's so many different ones, but these guys don't have a plan, don't have a strategy, they rush in, they also don't know what their end goal is. Because if your end goal is to make £10,000 a month, you want to be strategic with what properties you buy. But these guys don't, they rush in and then they make the expensive mistakes. So the solution to this is to stop for a minute. I want you to go and learn the 10 different property strategies. Learn the 17 different ways to fund them. Learn how to be tax efficient and build a plan. What do you want in year 1? What do you want in year 2? How are you going to build? Are you going to focus on a portfolio of holiday lets to begin with? Are you going to flip property? Are you going to buy commercial? What areas are you going to invest in? And how are you personally going to build this? Have you got the time? It normally takes about 6 hours a week, but I want you to slow down. Get educated first, that's the number 1 most important thing, and then build what we would call a wealth plan. So this is, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? How are you going to fund it? And here's a step-by-step of how I'm going to actually get this done. So mistake number 2, fall in love with the property, not the figures. We've all done it, haven't we? We like that nice chocolate box little cottage. We think it's going to be amazing. We walk into the property. Oh, it's got a wood burner. We'd love one of those. What a great property it is. And we tend to forget, is this property actually going to make us money? Now, this is massive. The figures have to work. It doesn't matter how nice, how beautiful, how pretty that house is. The figures absolutely have to work. And you need to make sure you can get it to work. Not thinking, oh, I love this property so much, it only needs a 10 grand refurb. Rubbish. You're going to end up spending so much more. So what I like to teach my students is we start with the numbers first. If the numbers work, we know the property is going to work. We don't get carried away. We don't fall in love with the property. So over my 8 years as a property investor, I cannot tell you how many times I have gone over on refurb budget because I didn't see something, because I was blinded, because I like the property so much. My latest one, Amersall Road, that one, I didn't realise the flat roof from the garage needed replacing because I was so overwhelmed by how amazing this property was. It was detached, a great plot of land, and I got carried away. So you really need to understand that refurb doesn't eat into your end profits, which it will. This is the worst mistake that people make, is they start to spy on their tenants. So what happens is they love the property so much, it's their baby, and then letting someone else live in it is scary. So they spy on the tenants and make sure the tenants are doing a good job. So please don't do any of that. Leave your tenants in peace. As long as they're paying and they're looking after the property, let them do what they're going to do. But this all comes from an emotional attachment with a property. You need to take the emotion out of it. It's not your property. You ain't going to live in it. It's a cash cow for you. It's an asset that's giving you money. And as long as it's doing what it is, you don't need to worry about it. And that's why it's important not to fall in love with it. So what's the solution to this? The solution is pretty damn clear. Don't fall in love with the property. I want you to fall in love with the figures instead. And number 1 is the refurb costs and the budget. This is super critical. So you do your analysis, you know how much you're going to pay for that property. And don't be tempted to pay more just because you love it because it's got a cute window or a cute wood burner. And then make sure that the refurb budget is right and you stick to it, because it's very tempting when you're in the showrooms or the builders going, this is a better quality to go over. Stick to it, keep it nice, simple and basic is what I found out. You don't need the best radiator ever because it's a buy to let. The other thing I would probably recommend is remembering you're not going to live there. I mean, when I refurb properties with my mum, I have this battle a little bit with my mum all the time. She's like, oh, but it'd look really nice with this. I'm like, it's unnecessary cost. We're not living there. The tenant's going to be living there. And we need to remember this is going to be an asset that's going to give us a passive income. We're not living there. It just needs to be great for a tenant to live in it. And they're going to make it their own home anyway. What I want you to also do is expect normal wear and tear. Someone's living in your house and it's okay that there's gonna be a bit of wear and tear, and that's fine as long as they're not purposely damaging it and they're looking after it. You know, scuff marks on the wall in the hallway and things, just expect that, that's what it is. And part of your job as a property investor is to put aside money to constantly maintain and reinvest in your portfolio. I see tired landlords do this all the time. They're selling off a big portfolio. Why? Because they've taken 100% profit, they've never kept back a maintenance budget, and they've never invested in the properties. And now they're left with properties that aren't fit to be lived in, causing them a nightmare, and they sell. So what I do is I put the 10% of the rent aside every month. It goes in a separate bank account, it's a separate pot, and it's my maintenance budget. And if I've done something brand new, refurbed it, I might not need it for a few years, but at least I've got it there and I can maintain the properties and keep them looking good. The biggest trick I've found to beat falling in love with property is to do this. I want you to analyse 10 properties and do all the figures. I want you to go and view 3 of them. So go walk around them, view them and make sure the figures are right. And then you're going to offer and buy one. That one might not be the prettiest, but it is going to make you the most amount of money. It's going to be creme de la creme, the golden one that's going to help you building your wealth. So mistake number 3 is poor due diligence. And there's a few ways you can get this wrong. Number 1, you get the end value of the property wrong. So you want to buy the property, do it up, maybe recycle your money out or sell it, but you get the end value wrong. Ouch, that's going to hurt. You want to make sure that the end value is right. Number 2 is where you get the refurb budget wrong because you want to be optimistic. So I would always say put 10% extra contingency in there to get that refurb budget right, but that's a very common mistake, going over on your budget because you got the refurb budget wrong in the first place. Number 3, relying on the information the seller's going to tell you. Now this is a bit of a eek because they want to sell the property, so they might not be forthcoming and tell you everything, even though they've got a legal duty to do so, because it's up to you and your solicitor to check everything. Check what you're actually buying, check the contract, check the land registry to the deeds to what you actually own, and make sure it's right and it adds up. And then finally, at the viewing, you don't ask the right questions about the property. So you miss something like, how old is the boiler? When was the electrics last updated? Or the seller's reason for selling, or why he might be rushing, or in fact, he's got another property for sale that you might be able to get in. So it's really important at the viewing you ask the right questions and you get round all the property and you fully understand what you're buying. So here's the solutions you need to get it right. Number 1, make sure you do your own research. Don't rely on what the estate agent or the seller is telling you. So for a couple of quid, you can pull the land reg deeds and you can see what you're buying. You know, make sure you ask neighbours just to check things are legit, especially if you're thinking about running a holiday let or a HMO, which is a house of multiple people where you rent out the rooms because neighbours might not like that, and check the planning consents with a local council. Just make sure you're doing your own due diligence. Don't rely on estate agents and sellers because they might not give you everything because they want to sell it. Number 2, make sure you keep your solicitor or conveyancer accountable. They need to be on your side. They need to be checking everything. For example, I'm currently buying a commercial building. It's recently been renovated for 6 apartments upstairs. And I need to know that building control signed that off and it's all legal and they've got fire doors and the right fire regs have been adhered to. So I'm making sure my solicitor gets that information and I see it before we go through and complete. Some people like to rush the solicitor. Don't rush them. Just keep them with their eye on the ball and make sure they've done all their due diligence. So what you're buying is what you're buying. There's no nasty shocks at the end. The next one is going to be down to your analysis and your numbers. So I want you to get on Rightmove and make sure you've got the right comparables. You can even speak to a local surveyor, because if you're buying it to recycle your money or flip it, you want to make sure that the end value you're estimating is right and you don't get it wrong, because that can be really costly. So make sure you get on, you find the right comparables like a RIC surveyor would, a Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, and you nail that in so you're 100% confident that's going to be the end value. So at the viewing, make sure you're asking the right questions. For example, has the boiler been changed? Has the property got a good electrical certificate, or does it need a rewire? You know, has any building work been done, especially that needs building control? Where's the parking? Where's the garden? What are the neighbours like? This is valuable information you need to know as part of your due diligence. Mistake number 4 is location choice. So what most people don't understand is different property strategies work in different locations. For example, if you just want to do buy to let, buy a property for a tenant to go in, which you can do, doesn't work in London. London property prices are so high, so expensive to get in. The rental you get's not as good as the high property price, and you're not actually going to make a great return. Buy to lets in London don't work. I'll come on to what does work in a minute. So you really have to be careful about matching the right location with the right strategy. You don't want the most expensive area. You don't want the cheapest area. You want in the middle, finding that gold mine area, that up and coming area, that area where the council's putting lots of money in, it's being reinvested, there's things happening with it. That's the area you want. Also, investing too far away from home. Again, with a hands-free strategy like commercial property, you can be anywhere and invest anywhere in commercial. But when you're doing property flipping, Airbnb, you're going to want to be close to it. You're going to want to see it so you can source it. You can manage refurbs and things. So you want to invest, I would say, in about an hour location from where you live is key. And please don't tell me because you live in London that means you can't be a property investor, because you can, just with the right strategy. So the solutions to avoid you making this mistake is number 1, get educated. Learn about the 10 different property strategies and what works in which different area. For example, if you decide you're going to do the Airbnb strategy, you don't want to put it in somewhere where there's not demand for travellers, there's no demand for, beds per night, rooms. You want to be in an area where there's massive demand doing Airbnb, and it doesn't have to be holiday let Airbnb, it can be for contractors, but you need to assess that demand and be in the right area. I find that most people get it right when they invest closer to where they live, within that hour radius. So staying close to home is going to help you understand the area, understand the demand for the area, which strategy is going to work, avoid red flags, and just get it right. Finally, what I'd love you to do is find areas that are up and coming, that are set to boom, get in at the price now, which is a lot less than other places, but it's got high rental demand. I mean, Manchester is a great example of this. Massive capital appreciation. It is set to boom, according to Savills and JLL, and the rents are also big compared to the property prices. So it's a great in right now for anyone wanting to get started. And mistake number 5 is investing without the right knowledge and education. So I see people do this all the time. They rush in, they try and buy a property, they think they know everything. They don't, and they find out the hard way, and it costs them. People say to me, Abby, education can be expensive. I say, try ignorance. It's only 1 or 2 mistakes. You buy it in the wrong legal entity. Your solicitor doesn't know what they're doing because it's commercial property or something that's going to trip you up. It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to cost you money, and then you might decide not to be a property investor. So the solution to this is just get educated, learn as much as you can as possible. Number 1, go and join local property networking. You've got experienced landlords, investors there. They can help you and they can help you learn. Number 2, get any resources you can. Books, seminars. I just want you to keep getting educated, because the more you learn, as Warren Buffett said, the more you're going to earn. So take your time to learn from experts that have been there, that have done it, that have created portfolios, because they're going to be able to train you in the right way and stop you avoiding mistakes that they made. So on that note, I would love to invite you to come and join me for my free 90-minute workshop. The link is in the description below this video. Click that, register, come and join me because I'll get you started and I'll teach you so many things you just don't know and let's avoid those costly mistakes. So today we've learned the 5 biggest mistakes that new property investors make and how to avoid them. And believe me, there's not just 5. I could probably teach you 500 because I've made every single mistake in the book. But I'm here, still a successful property investor because I learnt from them and it made me stronger. I don't want you to go through the pain though. Thank you so much for watching me today. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because that really means a lot to us. Like the video and comment and let me know what else you'd like to see.